How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Beis, Daf 2 of Masechta Nazir. Friends, Ariel and Ashley are here. They're upstairs. Friends, let's all take a minute to daven together that they be quiet. Friends, I just ate half a pie of Kraft pizza. I thought Ariel and Ashley were going to eat more of it. Oh, man. I'll go upon him. Today we start Masechta Nazir. And who could tell me what Masechta Nazir talks about? It talks about Nazir. So who could tell me what a Nazir is? Nazir is a guy who's like, yo, I'm going to be a Nazir. And then he just is kind of a Nazir. And he doesn't drink wine, doesn't eat grapes or grape seeds, grape peels, any of that kind of stuff. He cannot become tummy to dead people. Oh man, they're making noise. What do I do? I don't know. He can't become tummy to dead people. And if he does become tummy to dead people, then he's got to start over. He brings korbanis and he starts over. And then that's if he becomes tummy to dead people. And if he drinks wine, I think we just give him a bunch of whips. We whip him and then yo, bro, you do it again, we'll whip you again. And then what was the other thing? He doesn't get a haircut. That's the other. Oh, good. Ariel or Ashley, somebody's here.
Both of us.
Oh, they're both here. Good. Now I can ask them to be quiet. I don't just need to say it behind their back. Guys, be quiet, okay? I already told them that I can't rely on you to eat pizza.
Not 7 slices like you.
Well, a pizza comes with 8 slices. If there's 3 of us, we all have to take our responsibility. Everybody, if you noticed, Ashley evaded video. She went beneath the video. Let's see.
Like an army guy.
There she is. You don't even see her. She's like the Israeli Air Force in 1967. Alrighty. Okay.
Got rid of one of us.
What'd you say?
She said she got rid of one of us.
Got rid of one of you.
Oh.
Well,
People want to come over for a coffee over Shabbos.
Oh, you got more coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's good. All right, talk as loud as you want.
There you go.
No, I'm kidding. Don't.
Sending very mixed messages.
I know. I have to be clear. All right, okay. I'm going to get back to my people over here at Babylon Talmud. Ariel, are you also going to evade radar detection? Okay. So, the final thing is Nazir doesn't cut his hair like my brother over here, and a little bit like me as well. And Ashley's back. Full house over here. We're not even going to get to the Gemara today.
We'll keep quiet.
Wait, you guys are leaving?
I'm going
Only for 10 minutes.
Only for 10 minutes. Can you make it like 20?
Yeah.
Bye. All right. No, I'm kidding. Stay as long as you want. All right. I think I scared them away. All right, how long was that? Like 3 minutes? All right. So that's basically a Nazir. Now, Stam Nazir is Shloshim Yom, right? If you just say Hareini Nazir, if he just says I'm going to be a Nazirite, so by default it's 30 days. And but you could make it your whole life if you want to. So, all right, that's the basic concept of Nazir, I guess. Kol kinuya Nazirus kinazirus. It says in the Mishnah that all of the equivalent terms for Naziruses count as Naziruses. So, this is very similar to the first Mishnah in Masechta Nedarim also, right? Kol kinuya Nedarim, right? For example, konam, right, is a kinui, right? Konam is like korban. So kol kinuya Nazirus kinazirus. And then we go, and then like also in the first Mishnah of Nedarim, we talk about yados. Right, yados are kind of partial declarations. So, for example, an example of yados is ha'omer ehe. If a fellow just says, I'm going to be, he doesn't say ehe nazir, he says ehe, I'm going to be. So, arezeh nazir. So, the maisi is a nazir. Oh, ehe no'eh, or I will be beautiful. As my grandfather would say, beautiful. Nazir. He's oichit a nazir. Nozik, noziach, poziach, hareze nazir. Friends, if he says these things, he's going to be a nozik. He's going to be a naziach, a poziach. All right, he's a nazir. Hareini koze, I'm going to be like this guy. Hareini misalsal, or I'm going to be curling. Hareini mechalkal, I'm going to be mechalkal. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. Hari other l'shaleach pera, I'm going to. Also, the Gemara is going to explain what that means. Arei ze Nazir. So in all of these cases, the fellow is a Nazir. Hari olei tziporim. If the fellow says, I'm going to bring birds. Reb Meir Omer Nazir. Reb Meir says he's saying he's a Nazir. Chacham Omer Eino Nazir. Whereas the rabbis say no, he's not indicating that he's a Nazir. Says the Gemara, Michdi. Tana b'seder Noshim Koi. Friends, what Seder of Shas are we in? We started off with Zroyim, where we learned about Masechta Brachos. Then we learned Moed, where we talked about all the holidays. Right now, starting with Yavamis, we've been in Seder Noshim, where we talk about the tractates that have to deal with, marriage, right? Women, marriage. So I guess getting married to women, getting divorced from, men and women, whatever. Noshim, what do you want me to tell you? I don't know. The thing is, Nazir, what does Nazir specifically have to do with women? Yavamis, okay, it has to do with the Yavama, right? Ksubis, all about marriage. Nidarim talks about, right, if a fellow, right, his wife makes an eder. We're going to get to Gittin and Kiddushin. Sota. What does Nazir have to do with Noshim? So Michli Tana b'Seder Noshim Koi. We're in Seder Noshim. My time Matoni Nazir. Why teach Masechta Nazir as part of Seder Noshim? Tana Akra Koi. So the Gemara says the pasuk because we're going based on the verse. It says by divorce that if a fellow finds ervas dover arayis, so what caused her to have whatever relationship she had? So yain, it was caused by wine. And what it's saying is that anybody who sees a sota, which is because she had some kind of an extramarital relationship because of wine, he'll become a Nazir and not partake from wine. So Nazir kind of, fits within the whole relationship between men and women, and if it falls apart, and then it's because she was drinking too much wine, and then a person sees this and witnesses this, they say, I'm not going to drink any wine, and that is how they become a Nazir. Posach b'chinuyin. Now, the Gemara points out that the Mishnah had opened up by talking about kinuis, right? What did the Mishnah say at the beginning? Kol kinuya nazirus kinazirus. That any equivalent terms of nazirus would make you a Nazir. And then what does it say? Ha'omer ehe. It goes straight into yodis. But says the Gemara, the Gemara, Pasach b'chinuyin umefarish yodis. I don't understand that the Mishnah opens up talking about kinuis, but then before describing any kinuis, a kinui would be something like nazik, naziach, paziach. Those only come after they talk about ehe, which is yodis. So we opened up with kinuyin, but immediately jump into yodis. Omar Rove, says Rove, v'itema kidi, some say it's unattributed. The Mishnah is missing a few words, and this is how you have to teach it. Kol kinuyin naziris kinaziris, v'yodos naziris kinaziris. That all of the equivalent terms for naziris would make you a Nazir. And additionally, yodos naziris kinaziris, that if you have partial declarations of naziris, that also will make you a Nazir. And then it now starts by explaining yados. So we mentioned kinuyin, we mentioned yados, and then we first explain yados. Ha'omer ehe hareze Nazir. That if a fellow says simply ehe, then he will be a Nazir. V'lifrosh kinuye b'reisha. Fact the Gemara, but why first explain yados? First explain kinuyin, right? The Mishnah first mentioned kinuyin, then it mentions yados. Why not first explain kinuyin and then explain yados? Why first explain yados? So Tana me'aud solik ha'u mufarish b'reisha. So fact the Gemara, look, that you're not ma'aretz if you're asking that kasha. You don't know anything. Anybody who knows anything knows that whenever the Gemara or whenever the Mishnah mentions one thing and then a second thing, it's first going to explain the second thing before going back and explaining the first thing. And therefore, if the Mishnah first mentioned kinuyin and then mentions yados, it's obviously first going to explain yados and then going to come back and explain kinuyin. Kidetzanan, for example, we have a Mishnah that we learned in Masechta Shabbos. Bame madlikin uvama madlikin. What do we light Shabbos candles with? What do we light with and what don't we light with? Umefarish ein madlikin b'reisha, and then we say ein madlikin lo I don't know. I don't really say Bama Madlikin. What is it? Bama Madlikin of my Madlikin, a Madlikin lo belechesh or whatever. Is that what it was? Oops. Anyways, so first we explain what we don't light with, and then we go back and we explain what we do light with. Bame tomnin uvama ein tomnin. What do we insulate stuff with? What can we insulate stuff with on Shabbos, and what can we not insulate stuff with on Shabbos? Umufarish ein tomnin bereisha. And first we mention what we don't insulate with. Bame isha yotza uvama ein yotza. What jewelry can a woman go out with, can carry out with to Rishus HaRabim on Shabbos, and what can't she? Umefaresh lo seitze isha bereisha, and we first explain what she doesn't go out with. So it's the mahalich of the Mishnah is that if we first explain something that you do, and so if you explain one thing and then a second thing, it will explain the second thing before going back and explaining the first thing. V'hotnan, but frekti Gemara, but Punkt fakert. I could bring you other rayas that to prove fakert. What can a animal go out with on Shabbos, and what can an animal not go out with on Shabbos? And it first explains what the animal does go out with. So we mentioned what it does go out with, then we mentioned what it doesn't go out with, and first we explain what it does go out with. We explain the first thing first. Nochamo, again, another raya. Yesh nochalin umanchilin. There are people who inherit and bequeath. Nochalin v'lo manchilin. People who inherit but they don't bequeath. Manchilin v'lo nochalin. People who bequeath but don't inherit. Lo nochalin v'lo manchilin. They don't inherit, they don't bequeath. Umefarish elu nochalin umanchilin bereisha. And sure enough, we explained the first thing first. The first thing on the list was yesh nochal and umanchilin, and sure enough, that's what we're explaining first. So it is not clear that when you have one thing and then a second thing, memeli explain the second thing first. We just brought two examples where there's a first thing and a second thing, or even a third and a fourth, and we explained the first one first. So ela la'olam tniyachi utniyachi. Really, at the end of the day, look, I'll tell you. Sometimes it's this way, sometimes it's that way. Sometimes it explains the second thing first, sometimes it explains the first thing first. Ella. Hosum di surah di nafshu. But when it comes to a fellow who's going to do something asur, well then, mifarish isur di nafshe bereisha, we first explain the isur, and then we explain what's mutter. So for example, b'meh madlikin uvama eno madlikin. What can you light with, or what are you going to be chayav, for malacha on Shabbos if you light with? So when we're talking about something that's an isser, something will be chayav, over on a malacha on Shabbos. So we'll explain that first, because that has to do with an isser, something that's very specific to him. But it's an isser that he himself will be doing, as opposed to gabi behema di isur aide behema udasi. But by an animal, the isser is by way of the animal, not by way of him. So mefarish atera bereisha. So first we explain the mutter thing, and then we explain the asur thing. Gabi yesh nochalin and oichit. When it comes to inheritance, nami mefarish ikar nachla bereisha. Right, the ikar, the main sugya of inheritance is that there are people who inherit and bequeath. That's the main sugya. So therefore we explain that one first. But no, if we're saying that by inheritance we explain the ikar sugya first. So if I had, what's the ikar sugya of Nazirus? Equivalent Nazirus is, as opposed to partial Nazirus is. Explain the kinuyim, right? The equivalent terms, not the partial terms. Elahainu taima. Rather, this is the reason why we explain Yodis first. Yodis hoil va'asyon le midrashe chavivin le. You hear that? That because Yodis comes from a drasha. That the rabbis expounded the concept of partial declarations for Nazir, and therefore they were much more excited about it. It required more creativity to come about it, and therefore they were more excited about it. So that's why they explained the Yodis first. Well, if they were so excited about it, then why did they open up the Mishnah talking about kinuyim? Right? Why did they say kol kinuyim naziris k'naziris? So why don't you start out with kol Yodis naziris k'naziris? Tana ki mascha be'ikr korban v'le'inyan perushe mefarish Yodis bereisha. So says the Gemara, well, look, when the Mishnah starts out with the opening act of Masechta Nazir, so we first start with the main thing, right, the kinuye nazirs. And then once we get that out of the way, so then we're getting to the explanations, more of the details. So they're more excited to explain the details of Yadus before Kinuyim, because Yadus are rabbinic exposition. All right. I need water, It's not posh. It's not so easy to eat half a pie of Kraft pizza. I'm very thirsty now. But friends, I'm going to go weiter. As Dr. Seuss says, on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though the hacken cracks howl. On you will go up a something creek, though your... man, I should have quit while I was ahead. Though your... and your... yeah, okay. Okay, well, that's from the Sefer, all the places you'll go. That's a chosh of a Sefer. Okay, let's go weiter. Okay, Ha'omer Ehei Arei Nazir. So the Mishnah had said if a fellow simply says Ehei, I will be. That sounds very spiritual. I will be. Okay. You go be. Well, a fellow says Harei Ehei, fellow says he will be. Harei is a Nazir, so he's a Nazirite. Duma Ehei betunis kamer. Maybe he's saying that he's going to fast. How do you know? Ehei, I will be. You'll be what? Maybe he's saying he's going to be fasting. Amar Shmuel can go and show you Nazir over the fun of. Well, it's talking about where there was a Nazirite passing before him, and as the Nazirite is passing before him, he says Ehei. So Memele, he's saying that he's going to be also a Nazir. Lemuksav Shmuel Yodayim Shenon Mochichos Lavion Yodayim. Right, it was the sugya that came Masechta Nedarim. So maybe Shmuel holds that Yodayim Shenon Mochichos, right? Partial Nazir's declarations that are not obvious, are not clear, don't count. So therefore, it's not. You can't just say Ehei. It's not enough to say Ehei. That wouldn't be enough. He has to say Ehei when a Nazir is passing by, so that it's clear what he's talking about. So Yodayim She'enon Mochichos, partial declarations that are unclear don't work according to Shmuel. They would have to be a partial declaration that is clear. So they say not necessarily. Shmuel could hold Yodayim She'en Mochichos Avin Yodayim. Shmuel can hold that that even partial declarations that aren't entirely clear can still work, but they have to at least have a standing chance. Amr Bizman Shenazir over the fun of Lekles Apuka b'Milsa Achrina. Look, at the end of the day, according to Shmuel, all the guy is saying is Ehei, I will be. And as long as a Nazir is passing by, so then, okay, you can say, even though it's unclear what Ehei means, but Beseder, you could say that it's talking about a Nazir, as opposed to Aval Eina Nazir over the fun of Amiran Dilma Ehei B'Tainis Ka'amar. But if there's no Nazir passing before him, then it's not even an unclear partial declaration. It's just nothing. I mean, the guy says, "Hey, I will be." There's no Nazir. There's no nothing. We have nothing to base, our assumption that means he's going to be a Nazir. There has to be some, even if we're not saying it has to be entirely clear, there has to be some basis to assume that when he says "I will be," that it's related to a Nazir, and that is as long as the Nazir is passing by. But Shmuel can hold that Yodayim She'en Mochichos, that partial declarations that aren't entirely clear would still work, and that's exactly, and we would argue for Shmuel that that's exactly what's happening here. That he's saying Ehei, which literally just means I will be. But as long as there's a Nazir passing by, we can assume that even though it's not clear, we can assume it's talking about he's saying he's going to be a Nazir. V'dilma lefoto min korbanosov ka'amar. But maybe what the guy is saying, look, there's a Nazir passing by. The guy says, "Hey, I will be." We're saying it means that he's saying he's going to be a Nazir. Maybe all he's saying is that I'll take responsibility for offering that guy's korbanos for him when he's done being a Nazir. If he's a Nazir for 30 days, at the end of 30 days, he brings some korbanos that we're going to learn about it. And Ola, Achatos, and Shlomim. So maybe this guy is saying, "Hey, I will be responsible for sponsoring his korbanos." Maybe that's what he's saying. The Ka'amar Belibo. No, he clarified afterwards that what he was saying is that he's going to be a Nazir. If so, then what's the chiddush? He's saying he's going to be a Nazir. I may have thought that it's not just enough to say afterwards that was his intention, but he would actually have to be specific at the time. So Kamash Malon, not so. That is, if he just says hey and there's a Nazir passing by, it's enough to assume that he's going to be a Nazir and that he can explain himself later. What should we do? Should we go weiter or should we stop here? Let's go weiter. No, let's start off Masechta Nazir with in stride. That if we have an option between ending earlier and going weiter, we're going to be the weiter people. We're going to say, you know what? We're going to take the extra step. So that's what we're going to do, even though I'm still thirsty. Nazir. So if a fellow says he's going to be beautiful, so then he's saying he's going to be a Nazir. Maybe he's saying I'm going to do beautiful mitzvahs. Maybe he's not saying I'm going to be a beautiful Nazir with beautiful hair. Maybe he's saying I'm going to do beautiful mitzvahs. Kidetanya, as we learn in the Brisa, that this is my God and I will glorify him. And Noah lefonav b'mitzvahs, I'll do beautiful mitzvahs. Ese lefonav sukkah Noah, I'll make a beautiful sukkah. Lulav Noah, I'll have a beautiful lulav. Tzitzis Noah, I'll have beautiful tzitzis. Okay. Echtov lefonav sefer Torah Noah, I will write a beautiful sefer Torah. And I'll wrap it with beautiful silks. Maybe that's what he's saying. Hey, Noah, maybe he's saying that I'm going to do beautiful mitzvahs. Omer Shmuel says Shmuel, Shetofus Besairo. He's holding his hair and he's saying, I'm going to be beautiful. He's saying he's going to be a Nazir. V'omer Enoy Nazir ve'omer Enoy. He's holding his hair. He says, I'm going to be beautiful. He's saying he's going to be a Nazir. But fact the Gemara, Nazir milsa da avere ve'abinon le'noye. 1 second. A Nazir brings a korban chatos when he's done being a Nazir. He's doing an avere. Why are we saying that, hey, Noah means he's going to be a Nazir? I'll be beautiful. I'm going to do something beautiful. He's saying he's going to be a Nazir. Doing a Averis is not beautiful. Friends, doing a Averis is not beautiful. It's ugly. It's disgusting. Actually, it is beautiful. Because even according to Abelazar HaKaper, the Amar Nazir Chote, who says that a Nazirite is a sinner, Hanimili Gabe Nazir Tome. That's by a right when we say right that when Rabbi Elazar Kapper says that a Nazir is the sinner, that's talking about the if he becomes tamei to a corpse and then he has to bring a chatas oath. So in that case, that is where Rabbi Elazar Kapper calls him a sinner. The idea the boy Mister Damar Achmanav Ayom Rishonim Yiplu Kitamin Israel, that because he has to start over, right? If he says he's going to be a Nazir for 6 years and after 5 years he becomes Tomei Mace, he's got to start all over again for another 6 years, for example. So therefore, because he has to start all over again, he might actually end up violating his Naziris, and that's why we call him a sinner. But a pure Nazir, who's making a neder to the Eibishter that he's going to be a Nazirite, it's a very beautiful thing. So in that case, he would be able to. So if he says, "Hey, no, I'm going to be beautiful," he may well be saying that he's going to be a Nazir. Oh, the door slammed. Signature move of guests while I'm recording. All right, friends, that was the base of Masechta Nazir. That was pretty cool, right? We started Masechta Nazir. We were talking about Nazirites, people who take this vow of being a Nazir, and pretty interesting stuff. All right, friends, that was the base of Masechta Nazir. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.